Now, obviously, this week, it's a roundabout of a week I thought I'd try and do, but this week's been pretty awful. Obviously, the biggest news of the week, for anyone who follows any form of politics, obviously knows about Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk was I'm surprised they try and brand him some sort of activist, because he's not an activist at all. Charlie basically went to college campuses and debated colleges and universities, debated left-wing people who we believe are indoctrinated with left-wing ideology by their professors and stuff. That's why they all come out lunatics. He went there and debated them, and he'd invite you up to the stage to have your say, and you tell him what you thought about whatever subject it was you decided you want to talk to him about, and then he would debate you on it. He won his debates. He was good, he knew his stuff, and he was able to debate anyone. He was quite willing to accept people's opinions and debate them without getting nasty or anything. The guy was fantastic, a bit like Ben Shapiro. If you watch Ben Shapiro or Jordan Peterson, you may not agree with what they got to say sometimes, but they will make a proper argument for why they're correct and why your thought might be wrong. And unfortunately, someone decided to cut him down, which was horrific. Nobody deserves that. It doesn't matter if you disagree with them or not. You shouldn't be. There's no need for the violence. There's no need for it. But it happens so often with the left now that it's accepted. The ironic thing is that these are the people that don't want you to have guns, don't want you to do this, don't want you to do that, but they're the first to resort to them. I didn't see anyone on the right going out and shooting anybody in retaliation. I didn't see anybody offering violence in retaliation. I saw lots of vigils. I saw people left wing then coming into the vigils, screaming things like F Charlie Kirk, and a couple of those got a good hiding, understandably so, because they drove into an area with a massive amount of people crying and upset at what had happened, basically just mocking them. If you go and mock people like that, you're going to get your desserts, unfortunately, but none of them were seriously injured, none of them were hurt badly. They just got a bit of a slap and then sent on their way, taught a lesson, taught to be a bit more empathetic. But there we go. Anyway, and of course the media tried to malign Charlie by calling him all named under the sun, Nazi, and all sorts of absolute garbage that they couldn't prove with any clips of it or anything like that. They couldn't find a clip unless they wanted to clip it all together and mess around like they do. They take your words out of context, but they had no genuine instances they could show. Charlie was just a really good man, a God-fearing man, a preacher by all intents of the word, really. Very good fellow. Shot in front of his kids and his wife, which must have been horrific for him. That's what I worry about. But the media tried to do an assassination job on him with the left-wing fucking morons like Harry Sisson. Harry Sisson, how was he not cancelled? He got caught sending disgusting texts to groups of women and men, leading them all astray and all the rest of it. It was a big scandal, but got covered up by the left-wing media, of course, because they don't want to upset their own type. But Harry Sisson, he was leading the charge, really sort of saying, "Oh well, it's MAGA saying it's this, it's that, it's the other." MAGA, pretty much, I can't remember there being much speculation. We did think they would be a trans shooter, potentially, because they have they're 10 times more likely to be trans these days than they would be either, the normal demographics, say, even against, say, white, black, Asian, etc. According to statistics, trans shooters are, it's 10 times more likely. But we waited for the guy to be picked up. Eventually, turns out the guy's father handed him in, and then people around him have been being interviewed, and all of a sudden the left's trying to fight this, because they don't want to come out what really happened. So they're trying to say, oh well, this guy, you know, he was a Republican, he was this, he was that. No, let's put some things to bed right now. He was brought up in a Republican family, and he was Republican probably, or leaning Republican, before he went to university. When he was in high school, he was very leaning left already. And when he went to university, he was obviously radicalised because he became very left-wing. He was on all Discord and Reddit, all the weirdo left-wing leaning social media, like these horrible little sites where they all get together and chat about what they'd like to do to people and all the rest of it. He was one of them. He's a bit weird. And turns out, you know, even though, you know, no, he's not a trans shooter. No, he's not a trans shooter. Nothing to do with trans. Well, funny enough, no, we've got to be right about this. He's not gay. But his boyfriend's a trans man, right? So he's not gay. So the left wing say, oh, he's not. No, his boyfriend's trans. Can't make it up, can you? You're supposed to differentiate. No, you're not straight if your boyfriend is a trans man, is a man pretending to be a woman, right? You still got a meat and two veg, right? You're still gay, you know. You gotta be. It just means you're mixed up a bit. That's it. Now, I've got every respect for these people that think they are, because there's something, you know, there's something wired inside them that makes them think that way. That's fine. But it doesn't change the fact that that peculiarity seems to be an issue. And it certainly was part of the issue that it caused this guy to do what he did. So all the left-wing media, they can all try to hide it. But this guy was a radical lefty, a radical Marxist, a radical, you know, he wanted communism. He wanted to push that side of the narrative. He wanted trans rights. He's Antifa. I mean, everybody that knows him thought decided he was Antifa, which doesn't exist, of course. Everybody says, oh, it doesn't exist. It does exist. They dress in black, they pansy about, they turn up mob-handed and try to attack old ladies. They don't push anybody as big, because they get themselves a good hiding. They have to go about 50 strong on any normal American. But, you know, they turn up and cause aggro. They're the ones that set fire to stuff. I mean, you can see the calibre of people on the right that were more in Charlie. There ain't no buildings on fire in America. No one's rioting. No one's dancing up and down and screaming about, you know, getting our rights back and kill everybody that on the other side and all the rest of it. Not from the right. We basically said just go out and get them. And I think Donald Trump said it right. In fact, I believe he signed an executive order. It might not be true. But I believe he signed an executive order. I just saw some news that I haven't been able to check into. That says he signed an executive order demanding the death penalty for this chap, with no appeals allowed. So therefore he'll go through court, they'll prove it was him, and he will receive the ultimate penalty. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. We don't have place in society for people like this. It's time we made a stand and made sure that they know, if you are going to take your views to this extreme, there has to be a penalty. There has to be a penalty for it. You can't carry on if you've taken someone's life from them. Simple as that. The same as the train attacker a few days ago, or in 22nd of August, I think it was, with Irina, the Ukrainian lady who was stabbed in the neck by, I can't remember his name now, Dwayne Thomas or something like that, whatever his name was. The black guy on the train, the homeless black guy. He's a 14-time arrested felon who was let out on no cash bail, took the life of the lady, and as he was walking away twice, he said, got me that white girl, got me that white girl. Well, sorry. That kind of crime, that also deserves a death penalty. Because otherwise you have copycats, you have idiots that think that's okay. They already think it's okay, let's face it. Anyway, that's one part of the news. So, unfortunately, the bad news about Charlie Kirk, but the good news is his shooter has been caught. It's been proved to be exactly what we expect him to be, and hopefully he'll receive the ultimate penalty. EV news. Fantastic news for EVs. Yep, apparently registrations are up. They're selling like hotcakes. Can't get rid of them. Can't sell enough of them, right? They got loads. They're selling loads. Unfortunately, if you look at Auto Trader, now the 1st of September is normally the biggest day for the car industry, and because new registration, it's the 26 plate comes out. I haven't seen any. Must admit, I haven't seen it. But then again, I don't get out, so I suppose that's it. But 26 plate came out, and so on the 1st of September, understandably, registrations everywhere, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, EVs have done fantastic, massive market share. Oh yeah, they've done almost 24%. It's still ain't enough. They're supposed to do 28% a year, so 24% in September ain't going to help them. But they say 24%, right? So you say, okay, well, let's pretend to take that on the chin, shall we? Okay, fair enough. What happened? Well, 2nd of September, an awful lot of those EVs found themselves advertised on Auto Trader as second-hand cars. They're already, just check, honestly, don't believe me, just go do a search, cars 2025, have a look, list them out, get something called AT Price Tracker. It'll tell you the date they were registered, all the details of the car. It'll say the date they were advertised and a price, right? And all these brand new EVs that were registered, supposedly they were sales. Well, they weren't sales. They were registrations. And then the next day, they were listed as used cars on Auto Trader. There's thousands of them. Used cars, registered 1st September, for sale this week. And they're like 15 grand discount, 17 grand discount, 20 grand discount. There's everything. I did see one, but it turned out it'd been being advertised for a year. A BMW i7, was it an i7? I think it's an i7 or 7i, something like that. Anyway, it's a top of the range one. It's about 120 grand, and but it's unfortunately BMW have had it for sale. I mean, it's got 10 miles on the clock, mine. Just bear that in mind. It has got 10 miles on the clock. Registered about a year and I think it was a year and a half ago. I think it was April last year, not this year. April last year it was advertised. So obviously it was registered, put on sale, and yeah, I bet it was. I bet it was a 74 plate. Yeah, registered, and then next day put on sale as a used car, and that has lost £70,000. You can now pick that car up for under 50 grand. I mean, it's a lot of car. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with the actual cars themselves, the EV cars, there's nothing wrong with them as such. It's the range, obviously, that's the problem. The cars themselves are fine, they look nice. Well, I'm not sure you say a BMW these days looks nice. I mean, they look weird. I mean, they're not as bad as the Jaguar they tried to launch, are they? But they don't look very nice. I'd much prefer the previous models. The new M3 doesn't look anywhere near as nice as the previous model M3. I think those were probably, top-notch M3. Same with M5. M5 looks awful now. I'd rather have the twin turbo version from before. I really would. In fact, I'd rather have the F10. Let's face it, with the V10 engine in it. But there we go. But yeah, so EV's not really selling. So they're all on Auto Trader, all massive discounts. So if you actually are stupid enough to want to buy an EV, because you're buying into the climate change bullshit, then never ever buy a new one, because you'll always get a massive deal on a second-hand one, because they can't sell them. They're trying desperately to give them away. They'll pretty much take whatever you offer them. I know that because I was offered. I rang up about a van just to test the water, because vans don't sell at all, and I was offered by a 40. I won't say who it was because it might get them in trouble, but I rang up and asked about a transit van, and they wanted fuck me. I couldn't believe they're so expensive. It's like, hold on a minute, didn't these vans, I remember my dad buying a van, I mean it was a long time ago now I suppose, but I remember my dad buying a van. It was something like, he was arguing over 17,000 or 18,000 for this van. Let me see, it wasn't a Ford Transit, but it was the Vauxhall equivalent, the Vivaro van. And he ended up getting what he thought was a good deal, but wouldn't 20 grand. They didn't start at 20 grand. This van was expensive, but effectively what they offered me was such a big discount on the new price of this electric van that I could have bought 2.5 of them. Put that in perspective. I could get 2.5 of the van for the price, the retail price of the van. I think, I can't work out I can't remember the figures he told me now, but yeah, 2.5 vans. I mean, obviously I didn't want one really. I only wanted to get the price, but I mean, I wasn't exactly haggling the price. I was making an inquiry, and the salesman was so desperate to get some registrations that was the offering they made, because they had to get. They probably got sat in an airfield. They probably sat there for a year, 2 years or something, waiting for someone to buy them. So I could do that. It really is bonkers. But so anyway, so the registrations obviously are total bullshit. I mean, just stick in EVs under 100 miles, and put the search in most recent, and it will list them out, and it will show you all the ones. You have thousands of them registered in the last couple of days. Then you go back, and you've still got EVs with less than 100 miles on them. So how's that work if they're second hand? How do you have a second hand car with with under 100 miles on it? It ain't second hand, is it? So it's clear these are pre-registered cars because they got the mileage. Some of these cars have even got 3 or 4 owners on them. Most of them just got 2, because of course it's the used car. But some got 3 or 4, but they've got these cars. 2023, I saw something, when I was looking a couple of days ago. 2023. There's probably 2022s, I just haven't seen them yet. So they've got cars that were registered in 2023, and they've still got what we would consider delivery miles on them, and they haven't sold them yet. I mean, the discounts are fucking phenomenal. I mean, you'll get a 40 grand car for 12, but it ain't worth 12. Not really. It's now 2 years old. That battery, even if it's not being used, as you'll know from people say, like my wheelchair, got to plug it in. Even if I don't use it, I'm supposed to plug it in every so often to keep the battery charged up, because it loses its charge. Because the battery is degenerating all the time. It's a chemical, degenerates over time. It's not in its natural state. It's been manufactured, and therefore it starts degrading. What do you think these cars are doing, sitting on the airfield for 2 years, sitting in the back of a docks waiting to be shipped back to a dealership to sell? Petrol cars don't do that, because the engines are there when they get filled up with petrol, or that's it. They work. It's corrosion, but both cars got corrosion. So yeah, very dangerous, very dangerous. And double blow for them. Obviously, well, there's more than that actually. But another blow they had this week is that the shipping companies and other ones decided that they won't ship EVs. BYD are quite pleased, because obviously they've got their own shipping company, because they're funded by the Chinese government. They basically said to the Chinese government, look, there's going to be a problem. No one's going to ship our cars soon. So they built them a little shipping corporation to ship the old BYD. So you still be able to get Chinese rubbish ones. But I mean, not being funny, I don't trust a Chinese charger for my iPhone. If it turns up it says made in China and is actually, sourced from China, it goes straight in the bin. I don't even bother sending it back. But yeah, BYD will be all right. But no shipping company won't do it. Now, there's also news across Europe where underground car parks, people can't put EVs in certain underground car parks anymore. They can't use certain ferries. There's lots of bus companies that have gone back to diesel from EV buses because they've had fires and lack of reliability, etc. And then, of course, the news from the petrol industry. Now, supposedly there was a cut-off point where supposedly with the reduction in petrol and diesel cars and the increase in battery cars, petrol and diesel sales would begin to drop and the use would begin to drop. So, that's going badly, because currently petrol stations are reporting increased demand for petrol. Diesel steady, even though diesel is gradually, if anything, diesel being phased out more than anything else, because people are moving to petrol, because manufacturers are shifting their focus to petrol cars and battery. But petrol use is going up. Now, you think that would be wrong? No, it wouldn't. It would go down, because all these people are taking up battery vehicles. No, they're not. That's the fact. People using petrol. And then of course what you remember is there's hybrid vehicles. Most of them are petrol hybrids. And what a hybrid does, you've got your battery cars that runs entirely on electric. You've got petrol cars runs entirely on petrol. And then you've got in the middle, you've got something called a hybrid. What that is a little sort of 1 litre Fiat 500, whatever. And in addition to the 1 litre petrol engine, it's got a little generator attached to it with an EV battery on it, with some EV motors, and the petrol can generate electric for it, or you can plug it in. Now, in practice, most people don't plug these things in. They're essentially a range extender type of thing. So what you get is the electric battery will only do anywhere between, I've seen them advertised between 20 and generally about 50 miles, but there are some longer distance ones coming in. Apparently, I haven't seen any yet, but I think Volvo just launched one with something like 90 miles on it. So anyway, so these little battery will go so far. So if you want to do a really short journey, you could even do it on the electric for free because it's been charged by your petrol thing. But range wise, you've got a petrol engine. You'll run on a 1 litre petrol. It's not electric at all for that. So you just drive as far as the petrol engine will go. The petrol engine obviously isn't very efficient because it's charging all the time and everything else. So that has a drain on the battery, much like your air condition does or whatever. But they do last. Now, the battery electric vehicle people hate hybrids because they say you shouldn't go. It's a half-cocked idea. You should go completely electric. However, they do love them when they are including the figures. And so when you see the figures for electric vehicles, remember it does include the sales of petrol hybrid cars and diesel hybrid cars, although there's very few of them. It does include those in the numbers for pure electric vehicles because they have to, because otherwise the electric vehicles sales would look even worse. So hybrid vehicles bridge the gap. They deal with the issues that EV owners have. EV owners, they won't tell you, they'll never admit it, but it's a range anxiety thing. It's the fact that if you can only go 150, 200 miles, just think, you're going to go down for a day trip to Devon. You're going to probably be in a bit of traffic as well, and that's the problem. But you're going to go to Devon from Bristol. It's about 100 miles. Get down to the coast, Lyme Regis, somewhere like that, about 100 miles. So you go 100 miles, but there's not many chargers in down Lyme Regis, I wouldn't imagine. And if there are, there's lots and lots of people there on this sunny bank holiday, so you can't find a charger. So, but you're there. You've got there okay, because it's 100 miles. It's, you've got there, and it was 2p a minute or whatever it was, because of your you charge up at home overnight. I mean, it took you 32 hours, of course, to charge your car to 100%, and you shouldn't be charging 100%. Most manufacturers say 80%, but you've charged 100% to do it to get the mileage in, and it's only cost you 40p, whatever, but it took you several hours, and then you've got there. So you've got down there. You left your aircon off, obviously, and you didn't use the windows, you didn't use the wiper blades or the lights, and you told the kids you couldn't use the in-car entertainment, and no one was allowed to move their seats because any other use of electric obviously would bring down your range. You don't want to do that. You made sure you travelled at a steady 46 miles per hour, pissing off all the HGVs, but that's your optimum speed to use less battery power. You coasted down every hill. You basically just ran at each hill going upwards and sort of let the car run out of steam towards the top before you applied any electric. But you've managed to get there. But obviously the thing that worried you is when you got parked up, manoeuvring around the city, around the town, you've noticed your range 80 miles left. Right, okay. Bloody hell. So you shit yourself all day now. You're in Lyme Regis and you're worried yourself sick that how are you going to get home? What's the traffic going to be like? What's going to happen? You get stuck in the traffic. You leave later on and you start your journey back. And straight away, the first thing you'll do is you're looking for a special charger, one of your special fast chargers. So you're in Dorset. On the way home, there ain't many till you get to the motorway. You'll get to the motorway, but that's not the fastest route because obviously the traffic's on the motorway. So your sat nav's telling you that you could knock half an hour off if you go the normal route, you know, the off motorway route. But the charge on the motorway. So you say, I'll take a chance. Because in a petrol car, you could take a chance because there's petrol stations every so often anyway. You miss one, you're just going to come across another one. So you take a chance. You make it through the little minor roads. You're still there, but that range is going down. The kids, by mistake, put the aircon on for a second. You switched it off. You slap their legs and you carry on. And then you get to the motorway. And it's nose to tail because that's what the M5 is on a busy bank holiday Monday. I've been in it myself before. You're crawling up the motorway. And of course, you're not doing very many miles, but the car's always on. And it's hot. It's 35 degrees outside still. It's beating down for the windows. Kids are moaning. The wife's upset. You're sweating. It's pouring off you. You're worried you're going to flood the car in a minute. Do you put the aircon on? In a petrol car you would. Petrol car you put the aircon on, not a problem. But you're in an EV and you look at your range now and you've only got 20 miles. And you know the next charger is at the next services, which is 17 miles away. But you're in traffic. And you've just watched your range drop down in the last mile. It's dropped down 4 because you were just sitting there doing nothing with everything on. Unable to switch it off because you're on a motorway. You can't do that. It's dangerous. You just got to sit there and wait. And the car's just gently moving slightly forward, couple of yards, couple of yards, couple of yards, couple of yards. Going badly. You eventually get to the petrol station. No chargers. They're all full. The motorway's full. Everybody's off for charge. Everybody's in the same boat as you. All the chargers are used. So you go in, you have something to eat while you wait for a charger space to come free. Luckily for you, 15 minutes later, it's done. Off they go. Put the car on the charger. Now you've got to wait because you've got to get home. You're still 50 miles from home. Got to get a decent amount of charge in there. But everybody's using the chargers. Now, one thing about chargers is there's only so much electric comes into that grid. So if all the chargers are in use, your charge is going to be slower. It ain't going to be a supercharge, it's going to be slow charge. 45 minutes later, you made sure 60 miles worth of electric you put in there just in case. 60 miles. You'll charge it home when you get home. You don't want to put too much money in the pockets. Trouble is that charge will probably cost you 40 quid anyway. You eventually make it home. You've had a terrible day, stressful all day. The kids are upset. You had an hour in the service station you didn't need to when you could have just splashed and dashed with a bit of diesel if you needed some. But when you work it out, you could have done that journey in a diesel car or a petrol car for exactly the same as it costs you to do your little electric car, and you would have had no hassle, no aggro, no stress. So where's the point? Is it your life's work to believe that Greta Thunberg doom goblins of this world that suddenly it's globally warming, except the world's getting colder? So do you believe her? Do you believe there's really a climate crisis? Are you that stupid? Are you that stupid not to see the narrative that the government are putting on everybody all the time to limit you, to restrict you from doing what you want to do? Are you really that thick that you think an electric car is going to solve the planet, that man is going to control nature? Man control nature. The planet's been here for millions of years without us. But apparently, we know better than Mother Earth. See, Mother Earth's answer is she plants more trees. She nurtures nature. She gets the trees working. She gets all the plants working. She gets the bees going around pollinating stuff. She don't have an electric car. She doesn't chop all the bloody trees down to make room for solar farms. How stupid. If you believe the bullshit they come out with, this is about lining the pockets of their friends, and restricting what you do. Because if they say, well, look, we can't generate enough electric, the sun don't shine in Britain, so you can only have electric in July when it's sunny. So the rest of the time you can't drive anywhere because we can't charge your cars up. You're going to be accepting that. But I ain't. I'll always have petrol. I always have a petrol car. I'll buy in a supply of it if I have to. It's a joke. The government system is a joke. They're against us. They hate us. And you need to wake up and realise just how much they hate us. Because you do not, even if you think they hate us, you do not realise the extent to which the government and the left wing and the communists in the WEF, the World Economic Forum, you have no idea how much they hate you and me and everyone else around here. Because if we ain't working directly for them, they are not interested in us. They'll still have their private jets and their Ferraris and their Maybachs and their Bentleys and Rolls Royces long after we are unable to drive because they switched off your electric car or they switched off your smart meter so you can't put any electric in the bastard thing. They'll still be doing exactly what they want and they'll be telling you to eat bugs and be happy. You fucking want that? Fucking, I'd die before I had that. Fuck that. And fuck them. And fuck Keir Starmer. When I was at school, kids like Keir Starmer got themselves flushed down a bog because he's a tosser and a twat. Nobody would listen to the prick. He's a fucking, with his stupid monotonous voice, he sounds like a moron. He's as thick as two short planks. He thinks he's a lawyer. No, you passed the qualification to be a lawyer. There's no way you're intelligent enough to be a lawyer. Not really. I know some lawyers that fucking run rings around this prick. He's a liar. And he's got a lot of skeletons in his cupboard. Anybody tell you that? I'm not going to sully my thing by saying it, but we all know. We've all heard the stories about what he gets up to, what he doesn't, what his wife has to put up with. We've heard it all. And you want to believe this prick when he tells you what to do? You want to drive the car he tells you what to do? Like, fuck. If he told me to do something, I'd do the fucking opposite just to fucking piss him off, prick. Anyway, if you like rants, please like, share and subscribe. Thanks for listening.